Good afternoon and welcome to ETHR TV. Today we have with us Mr. Anshuman Das, CEO and co-founder of CareerNet Technologies. So CareerNet had done a survey on the present hiring trends. So today from Mr. Anshuman Das, we would try to understand the key takeaways and why is it significant in the present scenario. Welcome sir, delighted to have you with us today.
Hi, Shubhangi. Hope you are doing all well and staying safe.
Yeah, great, sir. I'm doing great. So, my first question to you is how would you describe the magnitude of the COVID 19 situation and its impact on businesses and hiring trends?
Sure. So, Shubhangi, I will typically say the hiring or the business impact of COVID, we should see it in three phases and very much the way our lockdown also worked. So, I think the phase one was the time when we hit this COVID, the April, May, June timeframe, where we said that I think this is going to go down south and continue to going down south kind of a thing. And probably businesses for them, it was a very new thing, not that anyone had planned about it. And the first reaction for any business when something happens of this sort is ki, let's stop hiring, let's stop making capital expenditure, let's stop making any expenses kind of a thing. It's a very reactionary approach that people took. And typically what you would see in April, not only in hiring, but many other, I would say, indicators in the economy, like your tax collection or your GST payouts or your overall economy, I think it was a fairly significant dip which we noticed there. And the dip was almost to the extent of almost 80% to 90% dip as compared to what we were seeing in the Feb and March timeframe kind of a thing. And typically continued till May, and I would say some slight recovery. And with lockdown opening up, the recovery started happening around the June, July timeframe. I think typically in August is a right time frame to say that was the little bit of recovery in the June, July timeframe backlog of what was going on, or is it something real kind of a thing, or have we hit the bottommost point? I would say we are really in that phase two where I would say it is actually some good news is there that we have hit the bottom. It is not essentially going further down south kind of a thing, which means that typically if we take the average of the last 3 months, we would be down by about 40-50%. Now it is essentially moving up kind of a thing. We believe that this phenomena is going to continue for another at least 3-4 months. Probably around the October-November timeframe, they should start going up. So in a way, you can say it's a bathtub shape kind of a thing where one side has gone down. We are hitting at that flat kind of a thing. It will start going up from, I think, from October, November onwards kind of a thing. Probably by the next year, Feb timeframe is where we should be actually back to the last year March timeframe kind of a thing. So it's a full 1 year cycle which we are seeing in terms of where about 40-50% dip at the bottommost level. At the flat level will be about 25% dip, and then slowly rising up kind of a thing. And that's how I see the whole impact of hiring and various other indicators in the economy look like today.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, the next question I have for you is what is your analysis of the current hiring trends and what do you think the changes and impacts would be specifically in for a country like India? And how long do you foresee for this trend to continue?
So I think, when I say that the hiring looks like about 40% down and back to about like 30% down and then slowly going up kind of a thing, it is very, I would say, 20,000 feet level. But when you go down to a little bit more micro level, at a macro level, that looks good. At a micro level, it is definitely a different story altogether. And we have to start taking sector by sector from that point of view. So I think one of the very large sectors in which we as a company deal is the whole offshoring space, which is the lot of MNCs who set up their offshoring units in India, or a lot of our Indian IT services companies who are doing work for the global offshoring hub. I think there I would say the impact has not been that steep as it has been for a lot of the domestic economy from that point of view. There it has been mostly in the range of about 15-20%, I would say, cut which is there. Even in the domestic economy, if you pick up some of the FMCG companies or companies which are essentially, let's say, in the online education or a little bit of startup which are in the digital space, the impact is not so deep. But when you go down to your companies in the travel, hospitality, food delivery, wherever there was a physical contact, I think the impact is still very high. And it is essentially to the extent of about 60-80%. As in, just to see some of the big companies like your Ola, Uber, Oyo, or travel companies like Make My Trip, food delivery companies like Zomato, Swiggy, or mobility companies like your Vogo, Bounce. If you pick up, there is a reasonable level of impact, or a gym company or a health company like your CureFit or a EatFit, they have impact. So in those
Mhm.
places, I would say it is definitely a much more higher impact, more than 50% impact kind of a thing. But on the other hand, when you see a lot of your content companies like your OTT companies like your ZTV or your Hotstar or even in the media space, for example, if you talk about, I think the impact is not so deep, not so deep, though the advertising revenues are down there kind of a thing. Online education, if you see, is definitely quite up. In fact, it is about 30 to 40% up from that point of view. So I think that is how the heterogeneity of the whole impact is there in India. Second, in terms of how this is going to pan out, obviously, some of the sectors which I mentioned initially, like the travel, hospitality, and entertainment, those are the ones which are going to be the last ones which are going to recover, kind of a thing. But I definitely see the things like your education is going to come back very soon. Healthcare is, I think, reviving right now, kind of a thing. Retail is slowly coming back. But real estate is going to take time, especially the commercial real estate and the office real estate, that is going to take time to come back. So that is how I've said it's going to be a gradual recovery happening, and probably a lot of hopes do reside on the vaccine part kind of a thing, because the
Yeah.
moment it starts coming in, the fear
Mhm.
element is out, we start opening up kind of a thing. So, which I do see that Feb March is the right time frame when the economy will open up its full kind.
Okay. Yeah. So my next question would be, how has the campus hiring been affected? Because we have been hearing a lot of news that there is not much campus hiring happen. Final year students are not getting through for the placements. So how do you think? What is your analysis of that?
See, I think two things have to be seen. Campus hiring is always a continuous phenomenon, as in one batch goes out and the next batch starts getting ready for the next year hiring. So let's look at what happened to the year 2020 batch for whom the offers were already made out last year, October, November, December, and who were supposed to join in May, June, July. I think for a lot of them, good news is that the offers have not been revoked. When we did a survey, we realized that there's only about 10 to 12% companies which have revoked the offers or those kind of things. I think a good number of 30 to 40% people have delayed the joining, and about 40 to 50% people have actually onboarded also kind of a thing. So which means that the overall last year campus is going to typically end by about October, November, December timeframe when the whole onboarding process will happen. At the same time, the second reality which is there in front of us is we have the final examinations of a lot of these students which were supposed to pick jobs in June, July. Have that happened? I think that is also taking time. And it is
Yeah,
not
it is.
remote assessments happening. In fact, we have a full technology through which remote assessments happen. And a lot of our education institutes, right from IIMs to IITs, have approached us for doing remote assessments for their fourth year students so that they can be at least ready to go out and take jobs kind of a thing, which means that the third year, which is going to come in fourth year, is yet to come in kind of a thing. So I think the overall session is going to get delayed by about 3-4 months kind of a thing. I do see that even IIT JEE, for example, is getting delayed. NEET is getting delayed, which means technically what used to start in campuses around July is going to start around November, December, which
Yeah.
means that the overall campus hiring for the next year is also going to get delayed. While some of the companies have already started going to campuses, but this year it is going to be a far more longer phenomenon. Normally, the campus cycle typically starts around July, August, and ends by December kind of a time frame. This time, the end date would be next year or April, May is when it will end kind of thing, because students next year are not going to pass out in their April time frame. It is going to go till June, July kind of a thing. So I would say there is a hope that it is going to come back. Right now, if you ask me how much is the impact, I would say it's about 50 to 60% impact is there. But as we move
Mhm.
forward, this impact is going to get reduced. And my message to a lot of the students is not to get panicked. It will happen. Fundamentals are good. Hopefully by next year, April, May, they will see a lot of job offers coming in, and it will be a good, I would say, a time when they will be getting inside in their jobs next year. Obviously, for a 2020 batch which is getting in, it is going to be a tough time because it's going to be a lot of remote
Yeah.
onboarding, it's going to be remote working. So for them, definitely the 6-9 months is a little bit of a tedious journey.
So the next question I have is, what challenges and constraints are HR teams likely to face? Since the whole workforce is now in a virtual setup, what are their challenges? How best can they tackle them?
Sure. So in fact, we did a survey in terms of how the employee challenges from a HR and talent acquisition or hiring is concerned. So I'll take this into two parts. One is the HR part and another is the hiring part. From a hiring part point of view, I think we had earlier challenges about if let's say there is any volume hiring happening, is the candidate authentic or not kind of a thing? Is somebody cheating happening there in any recruitment process or not kind of a thing? I think there is sufficient amount of technology which is already inbuilt. In fact, we also have a platform which takes care of complete facial recognition, virtual hiring. There's a good amount of technology which has come about kind of a thing, and which is going to remain there. That is one, I would say, from a hiring point of view. Second, I think what has been the main challenge is that after hiring, you have this whole onboarding process. And typically in an onboarding process, what used to happen is there used to be a face-to-face training, which there used to be a lot of peer-to-peer learning and a lot of the on-job training which used to happen. I think that is definitely the place where I believe that some amount of challenge is there. Third, for the employees who are already onboarded, what is the challenge? I would say for a lot of the functions in the IT and tech sector, I think continuity is maintained. Continuity is not hampered. But can we say that is the career progression happening? Is the peer-to-peer learning happening? Is, let's say, tomorrow somebody who's a developer wanting to aspire to become a product guy, is that career further progression is happening? I think those are the places where if you are not physically within a team environment, within that whole peer-to-peer learning environment is not there, then I think those are places where I would say we definitely are challenged. I think those are the places where HR is figuring out that how do we kind of ensure that the career development process of people is happening. I think initially when this whole work from home thing started out, people were quite excited that, okay, there's a good productivity happening and people are able to work very well. But I think in the last 2 months, what we have figured out is in fact, the work from home has become far more strenuous. It has become far more demanding from that point of view and there are a lot of employee stress which is happening. So I think HR, which typically was not supposed to take care of a lot of these things when the office was there kind of a thing, I think a lot of focus is getting into to ensure that how does training happens, how does employee engagement happens, how does the work-life balance happens. So I think the role of HR will still remain as solving those problems, but the methods which they will bring about will definitely change.
So my last question to you is, do you think the new hiring strategy will not only help companies override the ongoing crisis, but also bring about changes in the way jobs are seen? And, is it beneficial in the long run?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I will tell you, recruitment is going to get redefined in this whole. While there is, and even working at offices is going to redefine. I don't see, so I'll pick up the working part first. The work from home is not the only and is the way to go about it. I think it's going to be a combination of work from home and work from office, because as I said that the whole peer-to-peer learning, employee development, career progression, those things just cannot happen remotely. So I think it's going to be a combination of both working remotely and working at the office kind of a thing. So tomorrow, if any company says I do not have a work from home policy, I think it will not fly kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And if a company says I'm only working from home, that is also not. It is going to be a clear-cut combination, because working is essentially a combination of online and offline. But when it comes to recruitment, I would say there is a very, very high likelihood that 95 to 98% of recruitment is going to move remotely. Because what is going to happen when recruitment happens, there is a very predefined boundary-driven interaction which happens. I'm looking in for a full stack engineer. I'm looking in for a sales engineer. I have a particular way in which I assess kind of a thing. And I will use a formal assessment to do it. Even from a personality point of view, I can do a lot of those assessments. I have ensured that the whole digital platform is essentially very seamless. My experience is very good. I can actually interview a candidate at evening 7 p.m., whereas somebody coming into, let's say, Malad from Nariman Point is just not possible at evening 7 p.m. Exactly. So today it can happen. So I think recruitment, I believe, even campus hiring today, we have a full-blown campus hiring. Company used to go to 100 campuses to hire 500 guys. It was just mad thing. Today, you can hire 500 guys in a span of 3 days, sitting at your desktop with all your hiring managers sitting in 5 different locations. Yeah. So I do see that recruitment definitely is going to get redefined, and it is going to continue. And I think COVID is a very good time to adopt that, change your habits. It is not going to change. But working from home, I think that's an interim process. The way your study from home is happening, it is not a sustained thing. Same way, I think work from home is also not a very sustained way of doing it. It is going to be a combination of both. But recruitment, I think, can move totally digitally and remotely.
So I'm really grateful to have this conversation with you. It was really nice. Thank you for joining us today. I hope we see you again. Thank you, sir.